Welcome home, family and fellow citizens of the African Order. I'm here with another video. The topic of this conversation is going to be, what are we doing? When you go through life, you get in a hole, you get out the hole, get in the hole, get out the hole. It goes on and on. It's a repeated cycle. During this coronavirus quarantine, it should give us a time to reflect on not only what are we doing in life, but how are we going through life. And I've come to realize, I've been realized, that our salvation is not going to come from the person that's pulling us out the hole. Our salvation is going to come from the people that's in the hole. We cannot continue to let the same people who put us in bad situation after bad situation be the ones to pull us up. This is that Bill Gates syndrome. 1 minute he's talking population control, and the next minute he's coming at you with a vaccine to try to save your life. You don't know where these twisted individuals' mentality are when they show up at your door. I see a lot of black pride, people loving their melanin, but what I don't see is the businesses and institutions that we're creating to empower us. If we're going to be proud of being black, love being black, then why don't we send our children to institutions that respect them and going to teach them and pay them and treat them the way they're supposed to be treated, elevate them to the level that to the highest level they can achieve, as opposed to continually sending them to institutions that's going to underserve them. During this quarantine, we have got to start thinking about how we got in this situation. How many times have this, what a complete systematic failure it had to take to get this country in the situation that it's in right now. And any effort that we have that's in the hole should come with a solution that's going to take the power and authority away from the people who put us in the hole. And the thing, we have 45 million blacks in this country. Every last one of them are going to get hungry at least 3-4 times a day. That's enough right there to create our own food and grocery chain, create jobs and businesses around that, just feeding our own people. But as opposed to doing that, we'll rather take supplements, pills, to provide us with the nutritional needs that the food we eat should be giving us. This is why the coronavirus is targeting blacks so much, because the preconditions: overweight, which I am, high blood pressure, which I have slightly, diabetes, respiratory issues, asthma, bronchitis. All these things are conditions that's out of our control. If we owned and controlled the industries that we need to sustain our life, the food we eat would provide us with the nutrients we need. The schools we will open would accept and teach our kids to seek their own level, not this level of equality. Seek your own individual level. The businesses and industries that we will run will pay us fairly. Not fairly on what they think, but fairly on what we feel. You see people talking more and more about them putting chips in your hand. And I don't want no chip. Well, if you don't want a chip, then do something that's going to prevent them from putting a chip in your hand. Because if you keep doing the things that you're doing now, when the same businesses and stores that you go to today start saying, you got to have a chip in your hand if you want to shop here, you get hungry enough, you're going to go there and get that chip. The only way to do that is to create your own businesses and institutions and establish your own currency that's accepted. 45 million people in this country, that's more than enough you need to create your own economic stimulus package or economic structure. And then you can use that as leverage to get everything else you need. We cannot be letting the Bill Gates of this world, one minute you want to reduce the population, and then the next minute you want to send us a cure, and have these guys reaching down, pulling us out the hole every time. We don't know where these people's mind is at. This is crazy. Start accepting that we can do this on our own. Because when you rather take pills to give you the nutrients you need, that the very food you eat should provide you, you're surrendering to whites. You don't want to say, we can do this better than Whitey. I can. If we come together as a people, pool our resources, we can create our own institutions up under every category we need to protect and preserve our way of life. So when this market collapsed, we should have had an alternative set up that we could then develop to incorporate more and more of our people. That's like you driving a car down the road and you like, oh, I don't need no spare tire. Oh, I don't need no AAA. I'm going to put my 100% faith that this car's going to get me there and back with no issues whatsoever. You would never do that. If you're a man and you have a woman, but everything she needed in life, she had to look for somebody else to provide it to her. Money, security, comfort, protection, love. What she got you for? And if you there and you're not providing this for her, what are you there for? Do you realize how impossible it is to teach your children that Whitey is the enemy? When Whitey educate, Whitey pay. Everything you get in life, you got to go through somebody white. Do you realize how impossible it is to teach your children that they're the enemy? When they look at you and say, well, they're the enemy, why you work for them? Why you buy from them? Why everything we got to do got to go through whites? If they the enemy, you lost your argument. You'll never convince them. But you can convince them by establishing your own. And then when they try to come and tear your stuff down, then you can point your finger and show them, see, this is who is tearing your stuff down. And then you stop them from doing that. Don't never let them take your stuff away from you again. We can never let them do that. If we don't do anything during this quarantine but sit back and reflect on how we are going through this life, and is this the only way? Because every time you think of an alternative to self-determination, you are surrendering to the authority. You're surrendering to them. You don't want a chip in your hand? You better start thinking about building your own institutions. Because if you don't, you're going to sit outside their supermarket, sit outside their business, and your natural desire, your hunger, your need for shelter, some need is going to force you to get that chip and go in there. Because all you got to do is just sit back and wait. It's just like the vampire. When I watch the vampire movies and they're trying to find a cure, the curative vampire, And they say that the hunger always went out. No matter how long you go without, biting nobody, the hunger always went out, because you could try not to bite. You could try, but that hunger gonna always win. You sit outside their store long enough watching them bake them breads, the chicken, or whatever it is, and your stomach start to growling, you're gonna become more and more acceptable of putting that chip in. Well, it wasn't all that bad. I did the research, and it's really not the mark of the beast. It's something we misinformed. Right, right. I see where you at. Family, we got to do better, and we can do better. And remember, again, our salvation is not going to come from the people who put us in the hole. Our salvation is going to come from the people that's in the hole. We together now. Let's stay together, and we can do this. We can create a better way for our life and for our children. I'm in this video here, and with this video, with all my videos, it is to promote our people to have a complete liberation. A complete liberation of my people. I love you all, and I will see you in the next video.